Hello, welcome. My text for today is from John's Gospel, chapter 10 and verse 9. I am the door. This is Jesus speaking. I am the door. If anyone enters by me, he will be saved and will go in and out and find pasture. He's talking about a sheepfold, and we usually think about the wonderful message that he has when he says that he is the good shepherd who lays down his life for the sheep. But he's also said this a verse or two before. He says, I am the good shepherd in verse 11. He says, I am the door. If anyone enters by me, he will be saved and will go in and out and find pasture. There's one way into the sheepfold that Jesus is shepherd of, and that is the door into the sheepfold. And Jesus is not only the good shepherd, but he's also the door. That's a very strong statement. John's Gospel makes it abundantly clear, time and time again, that Jesus is the only way. There's no other route to salvation. There is no other entrance. People try to get there, going another way. Many people ignore Jesus or don't want to have anything to do with Jesus or don't want to accept that Jesus is the only way. But he is the only way. And he is the door. He himself said that, where is it? It's in Matthew chapter 6, I think. 7. Matthew 7. Jesus himself says, enter by the narrow gate. Now, a gate and a door are pretty similar. They are the entrance point to a pathway or to a place. The gate and the door, enter by the narrow gate, for the gate is wide and the way is easy that leads to destruction, and those who enter by it are many. But the gate is narrow and the way is hard that leads to life, and those who find it are few. He's made it quite clear in the Gospels, in his teachings, very clear, that there is an entry point. There is a way in. And the invitation is there to come, to enter. I am the door. Jesus says, I am the door. I am the door. If anyone enters by me, he will be saved and will go in and out and find pasture. There is safety inside, but there's need sometimes to come and go and find pasture. And when we go out, the Good Shepherd leads his sheep. It says earlier on, the sheep hear his voice, and he calls his own sheep by name and leads them out. And when he's brought out all his own, he goes before them, and the sheep follow him, for they know his voice. A stranger they will not follow, but they will flee from him, for they do not know the voice of strangers. This figure Jesus used with them, but they did not understand what he was saying to them. We are so fortunate that we can study and think about what Jesus said. The people he was speaking to, they didn't understand, but then they didn't know the full story. They didn't know that Jesus was going to die for them. They didn't know that what he was offering them was salvation. Even his immediate followers didn't really understand until he was raised from the dead. And then he spent 40 days going over it all again with them so that they understood and were ready to carry on with his mission to bring others into the kingdom. But this passage about the Good Shepherd is so full of information, so full of help for us. We are the sheep, you and I. We are the sheep, and we have the shepherd, and we have the sheepfold. The sheepfold is the place of security, the place where the sheep were put at night, so that they would be safe from any animals, wild animals, seeking a meal. Excuse me. And the sheep came and went. But in this story, Jesus, the Good Shepherd, goes out with his sheep. He takes them out and leads them. He goes ahead of them. He calls them by name. You know, wherever you are in your journey, you need a shepherd. Because sheep are very silly creatures, really. They wander around. I don't know a great deal about sheep, but I've learned a lot more since I came down to Somerset. Before, when I was in London, it was all pictures and stories, no real experience of sheep. But sheep are interesting creatures. And it's not a mistake that God has called his people sheep. He hasn't said, I am the milkman, I'm the milk herder. My cows know me. He hasn't likened us to cows or to pigs or even to dogs, but he's likened us to sheep. And there's a reason for that, because there's so much about sheep that is reflective of human nature. Sheep go in groups, and sheep do in groups what the leader does, almost mindlessly. And we see this a lot in our modern society, well, in every generation, that when somebody stands up and starts leading people in whatever direction, shouting loud enough, whole hordes of people follow them, and they don't really understand what they're doing. They just join in. And then we get marches and we get riots. And then if you talk to the individuals involved, they don't really know what they're there for. They're just there because they're there protesting or talking about something, and they often have no idea what it's all about. They haven't thought. Sheep tend not to be very great thinkers. But compared to Jesus, who is the shepherd, we are sheep. And we need to listen to the voice of the shepherd. We need to listen to what he says. He knows us by name. That's a wonderful thing. He knows his sheep by name. He knows your name. He knows my name. The Good Shepherd is looking out for you. He's leading you to good places, to good pasture, to safe places. He's going to be there with you wherever you are. And you are safe and secure because he's with you. He'll never leave you nor forsake you. He's with you. The sheep hear his voice, and he calls his own sheep by name and leads them out. A stranger they will not follow, but they will flee from him, for they do not know the voice of strangers. And then Jesus started again, and started not with the shepherd, but with the door. I am the door. All who came before me are thieves and robbers, but the sheep did not heed them. I am the door. If anyone enters by me, he will be saved and will go in and out and find pasture. The thief comes only to steal and kill and destroy. I came that they may have life and have it abundantly. This is God's purpose for us. He sent Jesus to bring us life, bring us abundant life, bring us good pasture, lead us in the ways that we should go. So we shouldn't be anxious. We should be trusting, looking to the shepherd. Anybody else we shouldn't follow. Be careful who you follow. Test out everything you hear against the scriptures. And don't lift anybody higher than Jesus. Jesus is the one we are following. We are following the Good Shepherd who lays down his life for the sheep. He's put himself in the firing line so that we can be safe and kept safe. What a wonderful shepherd he is. But if you haven't realized that there's only one way in, please think about it. If you haven't really accepted that Jesus is the only way, and you think God isn't like that, he's not going to turn people away, he's going to be merciful in the end and everyone will be saved. You've not read the New Testament if you think like that. It's not true. Remember what Jesus said? Enter by the narrow gate, for the gate is wide, and the way is easy that leads to destruction, and those who enter by it are many. But the gate is narrow, and the way is hard that leads to life, and those who find it are few. Jesus made it quite clear that the majority of people are going to miss it because they don't accept his words. He said them. He said them. I am the door. If any man enters by me, he will be saved and will go in and go out and find pasture. That's his promise to us today. I hope you're blessed today in all that you do, and I'll see you again tomorrow. Bye-bye.